There are five love languages, but quality time is the one husbands should really be intentional about in their relationship with their wives. I saved the best for last, so let's unpack this exciting love language.
Welcome to the Husband's Coach's Corner, the podcast that teaches husbands how to love their wife every day and become better men in the process. I'm your host, Chris Scott, aka the Husband Coach.
Welcome back. Today, we are wrapping up the series of the five love languages. If you have not read the book or have not taken the quiz, I recommend you do both of those. There are links in the show notes, so check those things out. As I said in the opener, I saved the best for last, and I really mean that. Hopefully, this episode will outline why this is the best love languages. And by best, I mean the most effective in showing your wife you love her. The cool thing about quality time is that this doesn't have to be her primary love language for it to be the most effective in your relationship. The only disclaimer I have to give you, all right, pay attention, guys. Quality time is that you must be present when you are spending time with your wife. Remove distractions and give her the attention that she deserves. I can't begin to tell you how many times people are like, yeah, I spend time with my wife. And then it's like, okay, well, tell me what you do when you spend time with your wife. We watch TV. Okay, that's cool. And then, it's like, well, where's your cell phone at? Well, I have it with me. Or I go to dinner and my cell phone is with me at the table. Here's a good social experiment. Next time that you can go to a restaurant, if you're in an area where restaurants aren't available for you to go and sit down, just look around the restaurant and see how many people are on their cell phones instead of engaging with the person that they're sitting with. It is amazing at how much we assume we're spending time with someone, and that person could be right in front of us and we miss them entirely because we're so wrapped up into the device. So there's my disclaimer. When you're spending quality time, be very intentional about being present in the moment and enjoying the time that you're spending with your wife. So the very first thought that I have on this and very first tip is date your wife. Remember the times when you were just starting to get into a relationship and you were like excited to go on a date with your wife? These are the things that you have to get back into the habit of. I've talked about this a number of times, and quality time is your opportunity to intentionally date your wife. Now, why is this important? This gives you an opportunity to grow with your wife. If you guys are in the same place that you were when you first got married, assuming that, you're a couple years down the line, then your marriage is going to become stagnant. And it's those reasons that people say, I got bored in my marriage, so I stepped outside of it. So don't be that guy. All right. Grow with your wife and, encourage her to grow with you. The way that you do that is by dating, sharing, spending that quality time. That's why I'm so excited about quality time. Dating your wife also shows that you care about her. There are so many wives out there that they don't feel that their husband cares about them. They may mentally know my husband loves me, but until you take your wife out somewhere or intentionally set aside the time, they may not feel like you care. And when your wife doesn't feel like you care, you scar her so deep. And it's a very easy fix. You just spend more time with her. And if you follow my disclaimer of being present, she's going to feel that you care about the things she's going through, the things that she's saying, the things that she's doing. Look, date your wife, all right? And then the last note that I have on dating your wife. This is not easy. It takes effort. The reason why it takes effort is because you have to put in the forethought, right? And that forethought is so time consuming. And, you can't just like show up and be like, oh yeah, we're going on a date today. And you may be able to wing a date, but you're going to have to put in the effort nonetheless to go on that date. You're going to have to put in the thought like, all right, I realize that I have to take my wife somewhere or that I need to spend time with her. What can we do? And then that's when you go into those situations where you take her out on a date, which rolls me right into my next topic or my next tip. You got to plan these things out, guys. And when I say you have to plan these things out, I'm not talking about the date only. What I'm talking about is when you are going to spend the time with your wife. If you don't have a clear picture of when you're spending time with your wife, then you'll never spend time with her because you're just fitting her in wherever you can get her into your schedule. When you start to treat your wife like a person who has to fit into your schedule, talk about lowering her self-esteem and really making her feel like you don't care. There are so many ways that you can, for a person with a busy schedule, trust me, I know I have a busy schedule, but I always intentionally carve out time that is just a part of my day to spend time with my wife, be it 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, whatever you can put together, but make it intentional and make sure that that is put onto your calendar first. Everything else works around that. Obviously, you have to be at work. If you get a lunch break and your wife has a lunch break, coordinate your time where you can just get on the phone, maybe twice, 3 times a week, and just talk to her about things that you want to do, plan a vacation, whatever. You could talk about how her day's going. That could be helpful. But I have found in my personal experience and just talking to other husbands and wives, talking about the day, it's like the cliche thing to do. There's no excitement about it unless there's something very special going on in that day. Like if there's a promotion, you can talk about that. If there's a big event that's going on, you could talk about that. But a normal day, most people don't really care to share their normal day. Now, obviously, if you were starting out in the communication window and you just really need to get something going, then yeah, talk about your day. But if you've been married for a little while, start talking about your plans, because that gets you guys future oriented and it really invests into the marriage and your relationship long term as opposed to short term, just in that moment. So my recommendation, if you're going to synchronize your lunchtime to talk for 15, 20 minutes, talk about things that you want to do in the future. And the future could be tomorrow or a week from now, whatever it is, but project out in your relationship. Very, very important. The next thing about planning it out, share the date nights in advance and build anticipation. All right. This is so important because, and I say this a lot, this is so important, but look, guys, when I say something is important, what I mean is lean in and pay attention, because understanding this and manipulating it in your way or owning it in your way will greatly benefit your relationship. So, share the date early with your wife, especially if you want to take her somewhere. We talked about giving your wife peace of mind when it comes to providing acts of service and things of that sort. If you're going to take your wife somewhere, make sure that it doesn't intrude on her schedule. So put it on the calendar. One of the things that I do, my wife and I both have iPhones, so I go ahead and send her a calendar invite if I want to take her on a date. And I even tell her where we're going. So I can say, hey, we're going to go have a picnic at the park on Saturday at 10:30 in the morning. I don't know. Have we done that before? Absolutely. Is that something that we're doing recent? Like right now? No. But you get the point. Moral of the story, you want to let her know in advance. One, this gives her an opportunity to digest it. And this also gives her an opportunity to come back and say, well, no, I actually have yoga at 10:30 in the morning. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, then how about we do it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? And then, you can have that conversation. And again, you guys are planning into your future together, investing into that. So this is just an opportunity for you to really develop a really strong relationship. And it's all centered around spending that quality time and planning out the time that you're spending. Where you really make your money on this, after it's on the calendar and both of you agree, yep, this is what we're doing, we're looking forward to it, you have to build anticipation. Think about a movie. You know the release date of the movie, but the movie industry also releases multiple trailers before the movie is released. And those trailers are all different. You may get a 15-second trailer that gives you like really spectacular highlights of the film, just foreshadowing. And then a little bit before the film comes out, you'll get a longer trailer that may be like a minute and a half. And it takes you from beginning to the climax, to all the buildup that leads to the climax. Like, these are things that excite you. It builds anticipation for you to go see the movie. You feel like you already know what's going to happen, but you just don't know how it's going to happen. Do the same thing with your dates. Our wives love to feel the thrill of being chased and courted and dated. And, these are things that they really, really do enjoy. So build the anticipation in your marriage, in your dates, in your relationships. Build anticipation for quality time. Even if it's as simple as a text message just saying, hey, in 2 days, we got this date going on. Here's some things that you should probably have done or taken care of. So then it's like, oh yeah, I need to get my hair done, or I need to go and get my makeup done, or I need to go buy an outfit. And your wife will get so excited. Now, if you're listening to this and you are you're engaged, you're a fiance, my recommendation to you, spend as much quality time before you get married as you possibly can, because these are things like you want to show your wife that you are so committed to the relationship and the marriage that you're willing to map out these things even beyond the date that you get married. Because let's face it, many marriages fall apart after they say, I do, and the honeymoon phase is kicked in or has worn off. And men are like, yeah, that was fun dating you, but you don't do the things that you used to do. And let's face it, we don't do the things that we used to do. And then you're left with the reality of what it means to be in a committed relationship for the long haul. And the only way that you can make it through these committed relationships is if you are spending this quality time. Now, if this is a love language for your wife, you are going to be in for and when I say if this is, what I mean is if this is her primary or secondary love language, you are going to be in for, you're going to be the man. You're going to be the man if you can figure out how to master quality time with your wife. And the way that you figure out how to master quality time with your wife is you have to define quality time. Now, you get your wife's definition of quality time. Don't assume you know what your wife considers quality time. Don't do it, because you're probably wrong. All right. And even if you think you're right, confirm it with her. Very important that you let yourself have the opportunity to confirm what quality time means to your wife, because you may think watching TV is quality time, and your wife just sees that as, yeah, we spent time, but there was no quality to it. And then this will upset you potentially, because you're like, no, we did. And yes, I am speaking from experience. All right. Guys, if you don't hear me on anything else, hear me on this. Learn what your wife considers to be quality time and then deliver on that. The next thing, you have to know the definition of your own quality time. What do you consider to be quality time? The reason why you want to know your quality time is so when you are planning out dates with your wife and you know what her quality time is, you can plan out something that both of you are going to enjoy. I don't know of anyone who puts in a lot of effort on something they don't enjoy. Like, it just doesn't happen. If you don't enjoy working out, you don't put in as much effort. When you start to enjoy working out, you start to put in more effort. You know, if you don't enjoy reading and then you find a book that you may like to read, you put in more effort to reading that book. So the same thing happens with quality time. If sitting and watching TV is not your thing, but maybe painting or working out with your wife is your thing, and that's quality time, and she also enjoys that, then those are the things you want to maximize. Don't take your wife for dinner and a movie if you absolutely despise dinner and a movie. And this is where you have those conversations and you say, hey, you know, dinner and a movie, not really my thing. Do I like to eat? Absolutely. So let's go eat. But instead of a movie, maybe we go dancing. Or instead of, a movie, maybe we go sit down and people watch, because that could be quality time if that's something you're into. Moral of the story, you have to know what both of you consider to be quality time so you can map out a date that actually works out with your quality time standard. Or just so you know what quality time you're going to spend throughout the week. That may not even be a date. It could just be something that you're doing in the house. The next thing, your wife's definition matters more if you want to speak this love language with her. Now, that sounds like I'm throwing everything I just said out of the window about if you don't want to go to dinner and a movie, then don't do it. No, that's not what I'm saying here, guys. What I'm saying is you have to learn to value your wife's definition above your own. And this comes with that sacrifice that I talked about in the acts of service. Give a little bit of sacrifice so that you can gain the reward on the back end. This is not me saying make yourself miserable because your wife said that she wants to do something else. No, because truthfully, that is very toxic to you, your self-esteem, your motivation, and inspiration in your marriage. So don't do that. What I'm really saying here with your wife's definition matters more than yours is that you should value that 70, 30, 60, 40, right? Give her the position of honor when it comes to quality time, especially if this is her primary or secondary love language. And you will find benefit far greater. Now, knowing what your quality time definition is, I guarantee you, the old thing in school that they taught us, the Venn diagram, the two circles that intersect, you may be able to find some quality time activities that are at that intersecting point of both of your interests, where you get excited about spending this time with your wife. You have to understand that your wife, value hers over yours, but don't make yourself miserable. Have conversations with your wife about it. All right. So those are the three topics there. Now we're going to go into the drill. And guys, this is a very simple drill. First thing you're going to do is write down the next date night and share it with your wife. Put it in your calendar and send it to her and make sure that she gets it and confirms it. All right. Very simple. Choose a date and say this is the day that we're going on a date. You don't even have to know what you're going to do yet. Just say, hey, honey, I want to take you on a date on 18 June. I don't know. That's a long time from now. Let's go with the 23rd of January. All right. Let's just make it that. whatever the date is, doesn't really matter. All right. Make it something that pairs well with your wife's primary love language. So, understanding, you have to know your wife's love language. If you have not convinced your wife by now that you are transforming yourself and trying to get to know her so you can love her and date her, and she hasn't taken the love language quiz, you're going to have a hard time with making these dates match up with one of her primary love languages because you're not going to know what it is. But for those of you who have your wife's primary love language, if her love language is physical touch, take her out dancing. Go get massages, obviously, or give her a massage. Because I get it. Right now, global pandemic, probably don't want to be all up close to other people. 100% understand that. So give her a massage at the house. You don't need anything special. You know, you can use basic lotion, whatever. Light a candle, turn on some romantic music, man, or some smooth jazz or something. You can set the ambiance and make that happen, right? If physical touch is her thing, quality time, you date her, you give her this over-the-top massage. You know, it's like, hey, I'm going to give you a 1-hour body rub, massage, whatever. Go for it, guys. Or you can also do the dinner and a movie at home where you cuddle up, eat some popcorn under a blanket. It's wintertime. It's cold in most states. You could do that, right? Maybe words of affirmation is her thing. Write her a love letter that tells her how you feel about her. And then find a creative way of delivering it to her over your date. So maybe you have a love letter, right? And then you put different sentences of the letter on index cards. And then you put those index cards all over the house or all over wherever. And she has to collect them and she reads them. And these are just love notes to her. One, she'll be able to grab those. And if you can make this spread out for 30 days or 30 different cards, she will have words of affirmation for each day of the month. She can keep those. And at the end of the date, you can give her a little box that she can keep them in. And if she ever wants to know what you think about her, she can open up that box and pull out a card. And every day of the month, she'll pull out something different. She'll put them all back in the next month and go right along with it again. The next one, if your wife is primary or secondary love language for receiving gifts, again, same concept of the scavenger hunt for the love notes, just with a gift. Give her clues to where the next gift or an activity that she has to do or that you have to do with her or whatever, to where her next clue is for the gift. And then at the end, have the gift available to her. It's a fun way of spending time with your wife. And it could be something as simple as, I want you to tell me something that I don't already know about you, because this is a way that you're getting to know her. That could be one of the cards. And then it's like, okay, your next card is in the laundry room. And then she goes to the laundry room and, you know, it's like, okay, if you could have one animal, what would it be? I don't know. You guys make it up. You could play 20 questions with your wife, and at the end, she gets a gift. Whatever. All right. And if it's acts of service, find something, as I've said before, that is not intrusive, that both of you can do together. Keyword is both of you together, or phrase. And that's that. So make it something, make sure that whatever the date that you plan is something that pairs well with her primary love language, assuming that quality time is not her primary love language. Now, if quality time is her primary love language, then go with her secondary love language. Boom. Very simple. And then, like I mentioned already, you want to build anticipation leading up to that date. Send her messages, send her pictures, find like little images on Google or whatever, and send her those in a text message or an email and just say, hey, I can't wait to, do this with you. There's so many ways that you can build anticipation for that date. Just do it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. So far, we've talked about going on dates with our wife, but the truth is your wife should be telling you what counts as quality time in her eyes. That's what you have to find out. Sometimes quality time is just having dinner every night where you reflect on your day together and playing video games, right? Your relationship and your marriage is going to be different than everyone else's. So don't compare yours to what your parents have or what your friend down the street has. Your relationship is 100% between you and your wife, and you two have to decide what it is that you want your relationship to become. The quality time that you spend with your wife is going to greatly influence what your relationship does become. Whatever you do, just make sure it meets her intent and you're present in that quality time. So, this has been a fun series on the 5 love languages. And now it's time for you to go out and find a way to love your wife every day.